everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly. This is the show where I give you guys the top 5 prog headlines for the week, give you guys some prog singles to go check out, and talk a little bit about my channel, what's been going on here, and what you can expect coming up shortly. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I always want to give a plug for subscribing to the channel. It always helps my channel to grow, and I'd really appreciate the support. And I appreciate all of you who are already supportive of the channel. Some incredible comments came in this week, and I'm really grateful for all of you that really interact with my channel so positively and give me so many great comments and likes on the videos. It's always much appreciated, and I'd appreciate that for this video as well. So thank you guys for your support, and let's get into the news. It's January 27th, 2023, and the top 5 headlines are pretty interesting this week. I'm going to start with some Yes news. It's actually a bit of a double header here. 2 bits of news that I saw from Yes, the world of Yes. First of all, they're selling their back catalog to Warner Music Group. This has been a pretty common thing that I've talked about a bit in previous shows about big legacy bands selling their catalog. And so it seems like Yes is the next band to do this. Variety is reporting that the band have sold the recorded music rights and income streams from their Atlantic Records catalog to the Warner Music Group, who have also recently secured high-profile catalog deals with the likes of David Bowie and Madonna. So this should be a fun, I don't know about fun, but this should be interesting acquisition here. The entire Yes family are apparently very enthusiastic about this deal, and that it'll allow the fans to continue hearing and appreciating this music far into the future. So it should be a pretty cool deal that should hopefully continue to make Yes's catalog accessible and help the band members to have that income stream from this deal. So should be a good thing. Last September, Genesis had announced that they sold a portion of their music rights to Concord, including publishing, copyright, and streaming income from their post-1978 output. And solo albums by Tony Banks, Phil Collins, and Mike Rutherford for reported £270 million, it looks like. And Pink Floyd also are apparently in negotiations over their catalog. So just a lot of interesting movement, these classic prog bands, and where they're selling their catalog and where their music will reside in the future. And it seems like it's more their classic studio albums from 1969 self-titled debut all the way through 1987's Big Generator, as long as several live releases and compilations and things as well. So that is the catalog that is going now to Warner Music Group. So that should be cool. The other side of the news coin for Yes is Roger Dean teased a new Yes album artwork online. I believe it was a Facebook post or something from Roger Dean where he showcased some new artwork and was talking about it as the new Yes album artwork. So that seems to indicate that there could be a new Yes album on the way in the not too distant future. Roger Dean is working towards the final product, and so it seems like that should be coming in the future. So any more news that comes out of the Yes camp, I'll be sure to share it. So should be interesting talking about their back catalog and also an upcoming possibility of a release. So item number 2 on the prog news headlines front. I'm always talking about Big Big Train, one of my favorite groups, and they announced a new album that's coming out on June 30th this year. So and this isn't a brand new studio album. This is more of almost a compilation or re-recordings of classic songs from their catalog. It's going to be an EP called Ingenious Devices, available on double vinyl, both black and sky blue, and a high-resolution Bandcamp download. It's available for purchasing for their release on June 30th, but it'll be widely released for streaming platforms on July 28th, giving more exclusivity to people who are actually buying the physical album before it comes out in the streaming landscape. So Ingenious Devices will feature new versions of East Coast Racer, Brooklands, and Voyager, featuring an elite 17-piece string section recorded at Abbey Road Studios in London. It's been remakes for this release, so a cool new version of these tracks, these big epics, really will add a lot, I think, to the epicness of their scope by adding these strings and these other elements. So I think that could be cool. And then also it includes a previously unreleased orchestral piece called The Book of Ingenious Devices, which links East Coast Raker and Brooklands. So this should be a cool, there's a trailer out. I'll put it in the description for you guys to check out. Should be a cool album to explore. I'm sure I'll touch on it on the channel. Should be a fun one to listen to. Like I said, not new material as of yet, but should be fun to dive into. I believe a lot of this is still with David Lungden on vocals, is what I'm gathering from the release, but the version of Atlantic Cable that's going to be on the release is going to be featuring their new singer, Alberto Bravin. It's a live version recorded on their tour from September 2022. So a cool release with quite a bit of music on it. So that should be fun to explore when that comes out a little bit later. So item number 3, Kansas announced the 50th anniversary tour titled Another Fork in the Road. They just released a big box set, multiple CD edition for their 50th anniversary, a 3 CD career spanning collection. And I think this tour is kind of going to be in tandem with that. So they work somewhat together. I'm sure they'll be playing a lot of tracks from that collection from throughout their catalog, but it's a big 50th anniversary tour scheduled to premiere in Pittsburgh on June 2nd and concluding in 2024 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So a big, massive tour that's pretty much taking place this entire year, the entire second half of the year, really, from June all the way into January of 2024. So should be, if you're in North America, they're probably playing somewhere nearby you because they're playing in so many places. I believe it's 50, they're playing in 50 different cities is what I think I read here. Maybe to honor their 50th anniversary as well. So 50 select North American cities, yeah. So this should be a really cool chance to see the band. I've seen them a couple of years ago, and they are really on fire, have a great, cool lineup. It's currently comprised of original drummer Phil Ehart, bassist vocalist Billy Greer, vocalist, keyboardist Ronnie Platt, violinist, guitarist David Ragsdale, and keyboardist, violinist Tom Brislin, and original guitarist Richard Williams. So an incredible lineup. Really, they're all stars in their own right, and they're doing some incredible performances as Kansas right now. And so that should be a lot of fun to look forward to, some cool live dates. And so check those out if that interests you. Next, item number 4 on my list, a new book has been announced celebrating King Crimson / Asia legend John Wetton called An Extraordinary Life. It's available for pre-order now on johnwettonbook.com, along with stories of John's musical successes, are stories from friends and family who not steer clear of his problems, but rather explain the why, the how, and the eventual triumph over them in honest and touching recollections. So it should be some really personal and introspective things about John Wetton's life and talking to several of his loved ones and friends and family. And so it should be a really cool look at an incredible musician and legend's life. So it should be a good book to check out. Sounds like there's a lot of people who worked with him and who are part of this project. So should be a really, really good culmination of his life and several interesting anecdotes and stories about things that are important about him. So definitely one of the big names in the prog sphere. So I just wanted to highlight that this book is coming out and will probably be of interest to many of you out there. So finally, item number 5, Wishbone Ash are releasing Argus 50th Anniversary multi-format box set. This is a pretty landmark album, their legendary LP. There's a lot of classic prog and classic rock releases, of course, having their 50th anniversary this year. So this is one of those. They're going to release this big box set on April 14th, 2023 through Madfish. So there's a lot involved in the package, as usual with these types of things. So Wishbone Ash is a very notable 70s band. It's a band that I need to delve deeper into. I don't really associate them as much with the classic prog akin to Genesis and Yes, but obviously a lot of people view this album in particular, and a lot of their other stuff too, as classics in the genre, at least in a related way to prog. So listing out what's available in this package, a big box set, like I said, 3 CDs, Martin Turner's Argus Remaster, live at the Alexandra Palace 1973 and Memphis 1972, also features 4 previously unreleased early version demos, 2 LPs, original Argus Replica remastered for this release, Argus Live on yellow vinyl, a DVD of Swiss and French TV footage, live from Rainbow 1973 and RTS broadcast from 1974, a 7-inch red vinyl single of Blowing Free, featuring a 48-page book with rare photographs and extensive liner notes, with contributions from Andy Powell, Martin Turner, and Steve Upton, numbered certificate of authenticity as well. So a big mega package with a lot involved in it. If you're a fan of this album or a fan of Wishbone Ash, who I believe are a band that are slated to be on the next Prog Cruise to the Edge as well. So definitely one to catch up on before the cruise also. So another legendary group releasing another legendary big box set of one of their celebrated albums. It seems to be the thing to do nowadays for a lot of these big seminal prog bands. And I'm not complaining, there's a lot of cool stuff out there to explore and enjoy. So now getting into the prog singles, quite a cool list of singles today. I had to scour a little bit to figure out what to put on here, but I'm putting a track from Uriah Heep's latest album, talking about legendary progressive and progressive related acts. Uriah Heep has been around the block for quite some time, and they released a new album called Chaos in Color. I believe it just came out today, in fact, and I've linked a single in the description for One Nation, One Sun, one of the tracks on it that's a bit of a big, expansive ballad, soaring ballad. So that should be enjoyable for you guys to check out. Really cool quality to it. Uriah Heep, even though they've been around for so long, still are sounding really great. And the new album's definitely one worth checking out. I also included Isles and their track Game Over. This is a Chilean prog sextet who are very notable for their more prog jazz fusion of a sort. And this is an instrumental track that really features a lot of that jazzy elements to it, fusion inspiration, talking about the alienation of the pandemic with hyper-connected people, but an intense disconnection from the natural world and submerged in video games 16 hours a day in a parallel reality. So there's a bit of that meaning in the song. Of course, it's called Game Over, so it has to do with that video game culture and being disconnected from reality. So that's interesting. I'm putting a song Exploring Birdsong and their track Ever the Optimist. I believe the single actually came out a few months ago. It may have even been featured in a prog singles list in the past, but I couldn't remember linking it before. But it's worth re-examining, even if I have put it out there before, especially because they announced that they're releasing a new EP, Dancing in the Face of Danger, through Long Branch Records on March 24th, so that should be something to look forward to. This track will be on it, and it's a really, really cool song. I think they're a great band that have maybe more of a pop sensibility, but still keep that prog framework. And I really enjoyed this track. I think it's catchy and fun and really sounds exquisite. So I really enjoyed that and wanted to put that in the list. Another more obscure single that I discovered today, A Secret River is the band. They're a progressive rock band from Sweden, and they released a track called Beyond My Fears today. So that's one worth checking out. It's a beautiful progressive rock track. Swedish progressive rock is always one of my favorites, so definitely in line with that. Some wonderful vocals and some great sounds to it. Just beautiful, almost pastoral sound that I really was enjoying. I think it's a really uplifting, good single that many of you would enjoy. And then finally, more on the other side of the spectrum, I put in the new single from Enslaved called Forest Dweller, which is much more of a heavy, aggressive, dark metal. But I found especially the beginnings of this track to be a bit folkier and lighter, has a bit of that clean vocals to it, but I will warn you that there are moments of those aggressive growling vocals about partway through the track, so you can expect that if you go check this out. But it's a really cool song that I was really enjoying from these Norwegian prog metalers, and could showcase something fun to come from them. Their new album is called Heimdall, coming out on March 3rd, so check that one out when it's out. So that's the list that I have for you guys today. And also I wanted to mention today is the release of the new Tangent live album, Pyramid Stars and Other Stories. A live compilation album of several of their performances through their career. I gave a review of it earlier this week that I really recommend it, especially to fans of the Tangent, but also to people who are wanting to get into the Tangent, a really classic symphonic prog outfit, who are one of my favorite bands of this newer wave of prog that I wanted to point people's attention to, because it wasn't one of my more viewed videos, if I'm being honest, but I think it's well worth your time and attention, so check that out. That's what I had going on this week. Also this week on the channel, I did a top 5 of the top 5 prog epics of the 80s, which was a fascinating time delving into some 80s style music. Not really my preferred era for music, but I've found a lot of cool gems in there, trying to find those prog epics that existed. There weren't as many to choose from my perspective, but a lot of people have been putting out a lot of great suggestions in the comments, so I'd suggest looking at that video. Also got back into the groove with Prog Song Sunday last week with Jana. We did a reaction to Rush's YYZ or YYZ, and that was a lot of fun. I experimented a little bit this week with doing some shorts on YouTube, which I've heard some people say could be the future of YouTube. A lot of people put out shorts to get a little bit of an expanded viewership and things. I didn't feel like it really went very well, if I'm being honest. I was a little bit disappointed with some of the reception of those shorts. Felt like I got more dislikes than I usually do, and it was a little bit troubling. I actually deleted a couple of the shorts I made because it just felt like they were getting negative attention or just weren't getting viewed very much anyways. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to continue that practice, but I'd be interested to know anyone's thoughts, if you think shorts are a good idea or if it's just kind of a waste. And because I thought it could be a fun way to preview some of my shows that I do, like to give a little snippet and a little taste to lead people, if they're interested, to go towards the full video. But I don't know if that was really happening this week, so I'm feeling a bit mixed about that. So, but luckily on my main videos, I felt like they did pretty well this week, especially my top 5 one, and so many great comments that have helped lift up my spirits after I was a little bit depressed over these shorts and how they were doing earlier in the week. So I appreciate and thank you guys for that. Coming up this week, I have a couple of more obscure albums that I'm going to spotlight in my typical album spotlight section. I figure they won't be viewed as much because they're not the big name artists, but hopefully you guys will check them out as possible recommendations if you like the kind of music I tend to feature on the channel. I'd really appreciate the views on those types of videos. I know they just don't get as much love and attention, and I think it's somewhat of a shame, but we'll see how it goes this week. Another fun top 5 that I kind of struggled to come up with ideas for, but I think it's going to end up being a fun video, and I think people will have a lot to say in the comments. Basically, the topic is dream collaborations between prog artists. Who would you like to see collaborate with one another? So for some reason, I really had a mental block about it a little bit, but I think it'll turn out perfectly fine. So that should be a fun one to check out. And another great Prog Song Sunday where we're diving back into a great classic Yes song that I think a large portion of the audience will really love. So that's what's coming up on the channel. Sorry if this episode felt a little scattershot. Trying to get the news out here, and I feel like my mind was a little bit scattered, but thank you guys for joining me, and thank you guys for your support as always, and I'm very appreciative of all you guys do for the channel, and hopefully you'll continue to watch my shows, and I appreciate everything you do, and just keep enjoying the music out there. Bye everybody!